What's up, y'all? Can you see me? I don't know how well you can see me, but I'm out here. I'm sure you can hear that noise. We got freeway right there. See the moon? That's pretty nice, huh? That's nice. So yeah, I got some things to talk about. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be interesting, hopefully. Now, disclaimer: this is kind of speculative. It's kind of just me trying to piece together some evidence. I might be off here or there. I don't know, but I think generally I'm kind of on a certain track. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to explain this, right? Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this cool view. Maybe not. That's too much to think about. I might accidentally get it every so often, but okay, so I was talking to this girl that I recently met, and she's into like occult type stuff. She was talking about reading some random books, and I was like, hey, I've studied about that stuff, and so kind of just brought it back to my mind. I'm like, yeah, I just remembered. I know about all this type of stuff. You know, I done studied this stuff. Okay, I've gotten into like some deep research. You know what I'm saying, and study a lot of stuff for real. So I'm gonna try to run y'all down. This could be totally off, maybe not like too totally off, but like kind of off. So just warning. Don't take it like for factual fucking. This is what it is. This is speculation. I'm letting you know. This is my disclaimer right now. Don't fucking tell nobody you know this, because I don't know this. I'm just throwing some shit out there that seems like it could be feasible, right? So, like I said, I studied a lot of stuff. A lot of researchers out there putting out their own stuff, okay? Among these researchers is Graham Hancock. He's a great dude. He's fucking written books, all types of stuff. I watch a lot of videos of his and stuff, and there's a lot of insight. Talks about Egypt, talks about a lot of stuff, ancient civilizations. There's a lot of people that do stuff like that. I've just looked at a lot of it. He's a very prominent one. There's another dude, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but it's like Robert Sepher, Sepher, I think is how you spell it. And he has a lot of insight too. He does a lot of research, and he connects a lot of dots. I'm like, oh, okay, and I'm getting it. I've also I've read like the Book of Enoch. I've got into Sumerian tablets. I've read like most of the Bible. Heard a lot about a lot of stuff, man. A lot of conspiracy theory, a lot of theory, speculation, and I've kind of just gotten I got it on my brain, kind of. I'm working with what it is. I'm trying to kind of figure out what's really going on here. Still ain't really got it. I might just be throwing this out there, so maybe people who know might guide me in the right direction, maybe, So I guess we can start with Sumerian tablets. Sumerian tablets, were said to be like the most ancient text on the planet, and like 14,000 years ago, something like that. I might be wrong on that. I don't even know the number, but there's a translation. They have the story, and it kind of fits along with the Book of Enoch, right? Blah blah blah. I'm not even really trying to talk about that. I went to a church a while back, and they really just don't like the Roman Catholic Church. Like, it's like their enemy, number one enemy. And talk about a lot of stuff, how there's, I don't know, they talk about a whole lot of stuff. But they say basically that a lot of Egyptian kind of, and even pagan stuff is kind of incorporated into the Roman Catholic Church. And you can see that with like Christmas and all the weird holidays and, whatever. And then they told me something like, ancient Babylon had something with like Nimrod and like his wife, and then he was resurrected and had like a resurrected version of him or something like that. And then that was translated to Egypt with Horus and Osiris and the baby. I don't even know him. I don't even know the names of the people, but the same trio. And that was like translated to all types of stuff, And then I even went to Jesus and Mary and I think maybe God. I don't know, So that same trio kind of has gotten along into the literature, and they say that's pagan. That's what they say it's pagan. I don't know. Don't ask me. That's what they told me. So and that's why they don't like the Roman Catholic Church, because they talk about like 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea, they merged them and stuff, and they talk about the Sabbath day. It's supposed to be Saturday, 7th day of the week, and how it's Sunday, and that's sun worship, and blah, blah, blah. They go into all that stuff. Okay, so that's that. That might be relevant. I don't really know. I'm not really trying to get into that too much. I'm just throwing that out there just because it's kind of on the similar topic. And if you don't know, Babylon is basically the same land of Sumer. It's just the more recent. It's a little bit more recent. But anyway, so I don't know if that all ties in, but I got a whole different kind of history I want to talk about, which is basically, I think it's a little bit more relevant to recent times at least. So that's with Atlantis. So if you read I'm gonna just throw this in there. We're talking about Egypt. We're talking about Nimrod and how that trio got into Egyptian stuff. But if you read the Emerald Tablets from Thoth, I call them Thoth. Some people say Thoth. I don't even know how people pronounce it. I just call them Thoth. You know, the record keeper from ancient Atlantis. You know, there's a lot of, if you read those Emerald Tablets, there's kind of the way he says it, basically. He says like it's kind of insinuates that he has something to do with the civilization of Egypt kind of being created. And I think he says something like he civilized the hairy men or something like that, and weird stuff like that. It's in there. It's kind of implied. And so there's a tie from Atlantis to Egypt, right? And that's a pretty prominent piece of literature, right? I don't know if they actually found Emerald Tablets. I don't know why they call them Emerald Tablets. They didn't actually find some Emerald Tablets, but either way, it's a piece of literature that's relevant. So talking about ancient Atlantis, here's where it's going to get kind of speculative and whatever. So Graham Hancock, he's a researcher. He does Egypt, okay, but he also talks about ancient stuff. He talks about Atlantis every so often. So he has this theory that he calls the crustal shift theory. You can look it up, Graham Hancock, crustal shift theory. And he basically says like that the Great Flood from back in like all the old Bible stuff was caused by a crustal shift. And that really just means like, you know how the core is supposed to be solid, but then there's like magma or whatever, and then the crust is solid. It's like a solid thing floating on magma. So basically he's just saying like the whoosh, you know, crust shifted like on top of that magma. It's like floating on the magma, just shifted. And there's also pole shifts involved. They can measure like when the pole shifted and stuff with science, whatever. And there's also, they talk about the Great Flood. And he's saying, okay, maybe that had something to do with it, you know, poles shift, crustal shift, whatever. Okay, and so ancient Atlantis was said to be in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. That's what it was fabled. It was like, or at least, you know, somewhere, something to do with the Atlantic Ocean, whatever. I guess that's why it's called Atlantic. So it was like, that's what it's fabled to be, right? And he has the theory. I'm just gonna go ahead and explain this part so we can get on with the whole conversation. He says that the crustal shift shifted Atlantis from the middle of the Atlantic Ocean or wherever it was to the South Pole. And he claims that, he doesn't claim it, but this is like speculative on his part. He'll tell you, you know, it's a possibility. Basically, you know, that Antarctica, you know, under the ice, you know, whatever landmass there is ancient Atlantis. Okay. Now that might just seem like a wild speculative thing. Okay. Well, let me kind of validate that idea in your brain a little bit. Okay. And this word's gonna get weird. It's gonna get really freaking weird. I'm telling you right now. Hitler was obsessed with finding Atlantis. I don't know if you know that. I think Robert Sapir, I say it with a French accent because I think that's how you pronounce it. I think he talks about it a lot, and I think that's where I learned a lot of this. But he was very obsessed with finding Atlantis. And the swastika, okay, that's a symbol all around the world. It's all around the world. You find it in all types of cultures, okay? It's everywhere. Hindus, like, it's a major thing. India, you know what I'm saying? But it's also all around the world. You can find the same thing. And guess I'm just going to outright explain it. I'm not really going to try to, you know, be too kind of, I'm just going to explain, okay? Look. So it's kind of been speculated that, and this is coming a lot from old boy Robert Sapir stuff, so shout out to him doing all his research. I'm just kind of almost copying what he said, you know what I mean? So check his stuff out. He goes way more in depth. Check out Graham Hancock too. There's a lot of other people out there. You know, if I think anybody else, I'll jump into it. But basically, they say that kind of like Thoth said, he implies that he has something to do with the civilization of Egypt being created, right? they say that the Atlanteans kind of went about the earth and kind of helped civilize people, right? That's kind of, I don't know the evidence for that, but I really just don't remember, but that's why I'm just jumping the gun, I guess. And Graham Hancock, there's kind of another one evidence. He says there's a lot of similar construction techniques around the world, from about, there's pyramids all around the world there, and there's also just like certain ways that the blocks kind of interlock and stuff. And it's like, he's basically saying there's no way that these people who are isolated around the world could have came up with the same thing at the same time. You know what I mean? That's just no. So he's saying there's probably a common, lineage from where that came from. And that's, I guess, enough evidence. It's not enough. I can't say that. It's not conclusive, but, it's evidence that maybe, there's something to that, right? And then another aspect of it, which I found just interesting, so I'll mention it. I don't know. They said whenever the white European people came to like Latin America, like South America and stuff, said a lot of the people there thought it was the gods returning. Okay, that's weird. Gods returning. Why would you think that? Okay. And apparently they have, a lot of those people had like lore saying that these the old gods who kind of taught them civilization, this and that, were like these blonde hair, blue-eyed, human like people, but they called them gods, I guess, because they're just capable, whatever. I don't know. They might have came on boats. I don't know. I have no. Nobody said that one. I'm just making that up. But yeah, they said, apparently, from what I understand, I don't know. I'm not the expert researcher. I'm just kind of learned this stuff, picked it up. I retain what's relevant to me, so I don't remember specific details and shit. I'm just like, okay, got that. But yeah, apparently there's like lore that these people have passed down with like tales about the guys that taught them civilization. They're like blonde hair, blue-eyed people, or maybe even red hair. I don't even know. So when the European people came, they're like, oh, it's the gods returning, yay, rejoice. And sure enough, it's just European people trying to come and do whatever they do, So that right there is kind of evidence. Okay, we're getting somewhere here, right? So back to Hitler. Okay, so Hitler was obsessed with finding Atlantis, and that goes to a thing called the Thule Society. And there's this, I forget her name, really long hair chick, whatever. But apparently, like, she had really long hair, and that helped her like be sidekick or something. She was like channeling messages, and from what I understand, they said she was channeling messages from the Pleiades constellation. It's a little group of stars. It's a little, I don't know what they call it, like a miniature cluster or something like that. Pleiades constellation there. It's a little globule. I don't know what you want to call it. But it said that there are Nordic-looking aliens that, come from that place. That's like the going UFO talk, that there's Nordic-looking aliens, blonde hair, blue-eyed aliens from there. Okay, now we're getting somewhere with this whole thing, right? Okay, so old chick from the Thule Society apparently, did the little channeling thing. She got some info. One of the things that she got info for was the Nazi Bell. If you don't know what the Nazi Bell is, it's rumored to be kind of a flying saucer-like craft. Okay, we'll get into that. We'll mention that later on, okay? So Hitler was obsessed with this. That's why he was obsessed with the Aryan race, blonde hair, blue eye, blah blah blah. He's saying it's like a special breed. I don't know what the fuck it says. I don't know what all the details about that, but from what I understand, he was obsessed with finding Atlantis. And that symbol, the swastika, like I said, it's all around the world. I think that has to do with the Atlanteans that went about the world and like left their mark. You know what I mean? Taught the human civilization and left their mark, right? It's like the little graffiti or whatever, right? That's, I don't remember where I picked that one up, but apparently that's a speculative theory right there, okay? And so Hitler, obsessed with finding Atlantis, got the info from the Thule people, and got the little Atlantean symbol as a thing, right? And was obsessed with the Aryans. Okay, so we got all that on point, right? So the war was going on. I don't know what the whole deal was. He was crazy, tripping, whatever. But it's rumored at the end of the war, or so rumored that during the war, like I said, he was obsessed with finding Atlantis. They went to Antarctica, and this is conspiracy theories to tell you shit. Go look it up. and basically created like under the ice base type thing, and they had submarines that go up in there and shit. And they said at the end of the war that's where he escaped to. And kind of fast forwarding through, but I think I explained it enough so that people grasp it a little bit. So when the war was over, U.S. declared victory, blah blah blah. And there's a thing called Operation Paperclip, for one. That was where the Americans kind of went and got all the rocket scientists from Nazi Germany, including Werner von Braun, which is like the first fucking genius rocket scientist motherfucker, and brought him over to America, and apparently they put him in NASA. That's what they say. And then after that, there was Operation High Jump, which is where a guy named Admiral Byrd went down with like a fleet of ships, Navy ships, and went to Antarctica to try to see what was happening, right? And they said when they got there that, you go look all this stuff up. And he said when he got there, this is his personal, testimony. He said when they got there, like a flying saucer like thing came out and like literally like just decimated one of the ships. And he was like, what the freak was that? And so that's where the Nazi belt came in, okay? And if you listen to Werner von Braun, he says that they got help. Like, that's how they developed so much stuff. They got help. And this goes back to the Fuel Society with their channel messages, okay? And if you're not catching all this on your own, okay, talking about the Nordic people, blonde hair, blue-eyed looking people, the Aryan race, blah, 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 the symbol, the people who thought they were the Europeans were gods. I think Graham Hancock said that one. And then the construction techniques, and then even like the old, theory of possibly, the Atlanteans kind of going out and, helping civilize people, right? So I think you can see where we're going with that. Maybe it was the Nordic aliens from the Pleiades came down here, hung out on Atlantis, and then, helped out, the monkey people, the hairy people, kind of get civilized. Okay, now, I'm not 100% sure on any of that. That's just all connecting dots. I don't know. I'm just, I don't know. It's just theory. But so that's kind of the rundown of what I think is what. And like I said, you got America. America picked up a lot of the Nazi stuff. And then we got NASA. There's a lot more theory that comes out of that. There's a lot more speculative theory. I go into the Bible and stuff. You want me to? Does anybody want me to? Or is that good enough? Should I leave it at that? I could talk about some Bible stuff. I could talk about a lot of stuff. See that moon? A lot of people say that moon right there is, I think somebody said that there was a rocket shot at it and it reverberated as if it was hollow. But what's very peculiar about the moon? It doesn't spin. One side faces us at all times, as if it's just like, just wants to keep watching us or something. They made the Death Star that looks like it in Star Wars. Star Wars talks about some low-key shit. It's got a lot of hidden messages. But one side faces us, and they say it's abnormally large for the size of our planet. It's like an abnormally large satellite for the size of our planet. So that's why I say like the Earth got hit by another freaking planet or something and busted off a chunk and created the moon. But also it's like the exact same freaking size as the sun in the sky, and that's just like, whoa. How we gonna have this moon that doesn't even spin, faces one side at us at all times, gonna be the exact same size as the sun in the sky? That's like, whoa. Like, no, I don't think other moons do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, other moons, you got like, I don't know. That's kind of peculiar, huh? Yeah, a lot of people say that might be something. Like I said, Star Wars, man. It has a lot of stuff. They talk about a lot of stuff in Star Wars. George Lucas got some inside info or something, and he's kind of putting the truth in plain sight, maybe, or whatever. There's a lot of stuff involved in that. I go on, but I think that's probably all I want to put on this one. I could talk about a lot of other stuff. I could talk about a lot of other stuff. But I think that's all for this one. I might end this video and make a second video, so stay tuned. But for now, I think I'm going to leave this one at that. Thank you guys for listening.